Now your scribble gesture, let's see if I can tilt this up again real quick. I put some more stuff into the mix and piled it up, and anything on that desk is fair game. You know, if you're looking for something to draw for gestures, you don't even have to set up stuff on a table. You can just find a spot in your house that's kind of cluttered and draw the stuff that's there. It doesn't need to be pretty or fancy. Your scribble gesture, you're going to do something that has a point. I suggest you start working with like a graphite pencil. If you had to substitute alternate materials because you weren't able to get your materials before the assignment was due, instead of starting with vine charcoal for the first one, you can use a regular pencil. Most people have pencils. Use the side of the point, so hold it sideways. And for the scribble gesture, I'm going to have you start by holding it sideways so that you use the side of the point. So it's the same grip as the vine charcoal between your thumb and your forefinger. You're still away from the paper, moving at your shoulders so that you can have a more fluid line that helps to suggest movement and direction. This one can take up the whole page. It could be a little smaller if you want, but this one can take up the whole page. So when you're doing a scribble gesture, make sure you have a lot of stuff in front of you. If you don't draw everything in the 10 minutes, that's fine. But you don't want to run out of stuff. You don't want like one simple plain object with a plain background and then go, I've drawn for 2 minutes and I can't see anything else to draw. So put a bunch of stuff in front of yourself and then start from there. You know, scribble gestures, just literally think about it as building your objects out of scribbles. Okay, so this is a good way to, you're filling your object. So this is that bunch of bananas again, and I started with one banana, and I added another banana. And this is a 4B pencil, by the way. If you have a softer pencil, a 6B, so something on the softer end is better than something on the harder end. You know, if you're stuck with just a regular writing pencil, I can't remember if it's a 2B or an HB. It's not super dark, but it should still work for now. The softer pencils will make a darker, broader line. So I'm doing both line, and that happens. I'm not starting over because, like I said, gestures are precious things. But this is why. So your newsprint, this is for practice, and this is also why I start with vine charcoal, because if you do gestures with pencil, it does tend to dig into the paper and tear it. The newsprint is cheap paper. It's for throwaway drawings. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of going through, and it's a continuous line where you don't really pick stuff up off the paper. My gesture is even going to expand to include the top of the paper where I am drawing, and I am looking for all of the other objects in the page. So, and just kind of think of it as filling the shapes with scribbles. Alternatively, if you don't want to use a pencil, these work really well with, say, like a ballpoint pen. I have more stuff in the background. I've got like a box with some utensils in it, and there's something hanging on the wall, and then I'm filling the whole space, and I'm like, okay, well, I scribbled my way through everything. So I can go back now that I've got these very general kind of scribbly kind of thing, and I can use it to make thicker, darker lines. So in other words, I'm starting to move away from this idea of pure gesture, and I am getting slightly more specific. So I'm going back over the shapes that are more prominent. I'm adding things that I might have missed the first time. So I kind of missed the devil's claw in the bowl. And I'm kind of emphasizing the shape of the wood and the little bit of devil's claw that's up there. And then there's a little more detail in the hat. And when I'm done, you're going to look at this thing and it'll be like, I can vaguely see objects kind of, sort of, and it just looks like a big mess. But that's really what it is. You know, it's like you're looking at the object and you're observing and you're trying to figure out what are the big general things, what are the most important or the broadest shapes and lines that I can find. You're not worrying about making a pristine, perfect drawing. You're simply practicing the process of drawing. And then, as I said at the beginning, these gesture drawings are not meant to be kept. They're just practice drawing. These are good to do in your sketchbook if you're looking for something quick to do or as a warm-up before you start drawing. It gets your eye and helps you sort of focus and get into the mode of drawing. So you want to work on it for about 10 minutes if you can. 5 minutes is a minimum.